Welcome back, my fellow explorers of reality. Here we are at the park again. It's been probably another 2 weeks since the last video that I made, actually right here in the same park. And I will love to make videos faster and upload them and post them for you guys faster. But as I'm going through the transition that I'm going right now, I am juggling a lot of things. You know those guys that have like some sticks and they have plates and they're like juggling all these plates at the same time and keeping everything in equilibrium. That's me right now, not with the plates but with my life and a lot of aspects of my life. So apologies if you've been waiting for a video and it's been a couple of weeks already. Believe me, I really want to make more videos and it will happen, on proper timing. But for now, thank you again for joining me on this one. It's a beautiful day, sunset right now. There's some people, let me show you over here. There's some people and their dogs all around. It's pretty beautiful. Let's see how, there you go. If you can see, it is quite nice. People sit down, they bring their dogs. Some people are doing yoga. Others people are doing whatever they are doing. I actually found this bench, so I'm not sitting in the grass, which I got lucky because I didn't bring a towel today. So this is why it looks like this. Once again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Gerardo Vitale. I'm a singer, songwriter, actor, filmmaker, a book author. You could say I have a couple of things going on at the same time. And I'm excited about these things because I've been working on this for a while. I'm talking about years. And I'm finally releasing some of this work and publishing this year, 2026. By the way, if you want to check out my book, it's called People Are Looking for Love, and it's available everywhere. It's already on Barnes and Nobles, it's on Amazon, it's on Biblio, Smashwords, literally every single book online retailer, it's available. The paperback version, it's fairly complete, but I still have to make sure that it's looking good on print. I have to actually get a print sample from them before I publish it to the public. So wait for that, and believe me, I love paper too. I like reading real books more than in the Kindle or on my phone. But like I'm saying, if you want to check out my book, it's called People Are Looking for Love by Gerardo Vitale, moi, and you can find it online. I'll put the link in the description or the comments right on this video. So what I wanted to actually share with you today is what I've been thinking about for a couple of days now. And what I will say is forget politicians and study philosophers. The philosophers from the Roman, the Greek, the old philosopher, the ancient philosopher from the Greek era and the Roman era. We're talking about 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. We're talking about 500 years ago. We're talking about a long time ago, years ago. Those guys already said it all, okay? Those guys 1,000 years ago already said it all. There were people that were walking the earth. They were very enlightened. If you can read their writings or you can read what other people wrote about them, they were very enlightened people. And they said it all. They talked about every single problem we have is what we call the human experience. And they talked about different ways to look at things, so we don't get stuck with just one point of view. We always go around a full circle. Because think about it, the best way to go around something is to go around something. The planet that we live in is a sphere. So if you really want to see all the sides of the planet, you have to go around the sphere. You cannot just look at one side and think that's what the planet is. You really have to go around. So those guys were very enlightened people. They really said it all. You got people like Aristotle, right? And then if I'm correct, Aristotle had a student and that student was named Plato. And then then he wrote about Aristotle. And then you have many of these guys that are very popular, right? We're talking about that. You can also count Confucius, which is Asian. I think Confucius is earlier. He's like 500 years ago from today. And that guy was also incredible. You read some of the stuff he wrote and what people wrote about him, the conversations they recorded, and all those guys, they said it all. So I find no need to pay attention to politics today because to me it seems like the politicians don't understand philosophy. And I'm not talking about just talking about things and talking about the human experience and talking about how to navigate society, how to build a society actually. I'm talking about how to think, how to actually think. This is more the part I'm talking about. And how to go about the practical use of the philosophy. Because philosophy, if it's just talking, nothing really happens, right? You can talk all day about philosophy. But the idea is to have a strong philosophical approach to a problem and then have a practical solution to it. Okay, we know this is a problem, let's look at it all around and then let's actually take a practical approach to solving that problem, right? So that will be the way that I look at it. This is why I recommend people to do. Forget politics, even if it's just for a week. Okay, I'm not telling you to just disconnect from the world, although I find it very useful, to be honest. But what I'm trying to say is, don't take those guys too seriously, because the ancient philosophers already said it all. So they're not saying anything new. It's interesting too that at that time we didn't have the modern technological advances, when it comes to, we didn't even have electricity at that time. And those guys were already thinking about things like that. They were really thinking about how would the future could look like. And they were trying to predict that just by understanding human behavior, which is the point of this whole message. So it's not about politics or not, it's not about this person said that person said that, or the history that happened in a country, another country. It's not about that. It really comes down to the human experience, to the one question. Ask yourself this question. Do you think that overall most people in the world know how to use their own mind? Think about it for a minute. Ask yourself this question. Ask other people. Ask your friends. Do you think the people today, I'm posting this video in 2026, do you think that most people in the world know how to use their own mind? I know for sure they don't, because if we knew how to use our mind properly, we wouldn't have all the problems we have. We will actually solve them, right? So the fact that we have so many problems and conflicts, and there's a lot of arguing, and there's always this kind of conflict, is the evidence that most people have not been able to actually understand the human experience itself, how to use their own mind properly, how to go about other people using their minds as well. Because it's not about opinions, right? I have an opinion, but I might be completely off regarding your own experience. So my opinion may be useful for me, but maybe not for you. So then we have to understand, how do we actually meet in the middle? So just forget the politics. Study the ancient philosophers first, and then be just in wonder of what those guys were talking about. They were brilliant people. I remember one quote that I read. This is like probably 20 years ago. I read this thing. Yeah, between 15 and 20 years ago. I had a book that it was a collection of different philosophers, and the book had like a two full page on each philosopher. So there were like 30 or 40 different philosophers in the book, and there was 2 pages for each. It was like a brief introduction of their name and what they were known for, and then there were also some really great drawings that were kind of also enhance what the message of what the main thing about that particular philosopher was about. And I remember reading this one, and it was called The Problem of Evil, and I think it was Epicurus that talked about this, and what he said was so mind-blowing. And remember, this is 400 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. I mean, this is a long time ago. So the problem of evil goes as simple as this. Why do we have evil in the world if God is all-powerful and almighty and all omnipotent? He's all wellness, all loving and caring, and He's everywhere. So if that is true, then why do we have evil in the world? And this is what Epicurus said. He said, well, you can think about it this way. If it's true that we have God and is all powerful and all loving and is not stopping evil from happening, then perhaps it's a wicked God. That's one possibility. The other one is perhaps he wants to stop evil, but he cannot, which makes him not almighty. Or perhaps, perhaps he just can't do anything about that. And that will make what we call a God a non-God. So what's interesting, I'm paraphrasing of course, right? But what's interesting is to think about all around the problem of evil. Not just to say that person is evil or, or people or God is going to help only good people. Because we already know that that's not how it goes in real history that we have. We know that some people do bad things and sometimes they thrive, they develop, they get rich, they do all kinds of things, and they got all those assets and property and wealth and everything by doing very evil things like slavery and killing people, wars. So we know already that being good is in a way, we can think about it as a subjective thing, because I might think I'm doing something good and you might think I'm doing something bad. So who is right? And this is the problem that we have, this confusion that we have for a long time. So when Epicurus was talking about are the gods actually all powerful and almighty? And if so, then why do they allow evil to happen? Is it because they are okay with letting that happen? Is it because they are kind of wicked and enjoy the evil also happening? Or is it because they actually have no power to stop it, right? So now, of course, you have to make peace with that yourself, which is the idea. I really don't like to tell people what to do. I really like them to ask them questions and for them to answer the questions themselves, just as a reflection. The same way that some of these guys, the philosophers, some of the people that I have read, books that I have read, they are also reflections of myself that I'm looking at, and then I'm thinking about, oh, that's an interesting point of view. So good and evil, they seem to be very objective, right? They seem to be objective. But there are definitions also. Good and evil does not mean positive and negative, right? Because positive and negative have both good and bad attributes to them. Like if you have a battery, you need positive and negative for the current to actually flow. So that means in this physical world, according to our physical laws, the positive and negative are one thing, right? And I talked about this in another video. It's probably somewhere in the channel. Most people think about the world as a duality. They think about positive and negative. But when you get to a point of actually diving deeper into that, you will find that the world is not a duality, it's a trinity, because you are the center in between the positive and negative. They are actually experiencing both of the sides. You are the witness that can actually perceive that there are two sides, so that makes you the third. And what is the third side? Now it's a trinity, it's not a duality anymore. So I think about the problem of evil the same way. You cannot have good things without having the negative part of that also as the same thing as the inversion of that thing. You understand what I mean? So everything can be subjective if you think about it that way. There is a phrase that I heard one long time ago, is pretty famous. He says something like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I have experienced that myself with my own life, and I understand what it means. Say you have a friend that has very good intentions, right? They have very good intentions and they want to see you doing well, but the advice they give you is not proper, it's not correct, it's not noble. It has very, very low ethical standards per se. So their intentions are good, but maybe they're guiding you on the road to hell, and you keep descending, into what we call hell, right? Which I'm not saying it's a physical place. Heaven and hell are states of being, right? So according to what we understand right now, the frequency of vibration of your own being, your own actual self, if it's higher is heaven, if it's lower is hell. This is what I'm talking about here. This is what we've been talking about for a while. So that phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, it's very wise. And I know this because I remember I used to spend time with some people that they had good intentions, but everything they were offering me was not good for me. I'm talking about drinking more than you need, or doing drugs that you don't need to do, or going to places that you have no business in there. And that was their lifestyle. And for them, it was like, just come with us and hang out, spend time, you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna meet people. And to me, I was like, I don't think they can see what they're actually doing, because to me, it seemed very toxic. So I just kind of removed myself from that circle of friends. So these are people that I don't connect with anymore in that sense. I actually haven't seen them or heard about any of them in a few years, because I completely put myself out of that. But that experience has shown me what the phrase means, okay? And this is why I recommend people to not look at the world as a duality, to never think about black or white, to never think about one country, another country, just to actually understand that it's all connected. It's all a sphere. The whole thing is a sphere. The planet is a sphere, your head is a sphere, the universe is a sphere, time seems to be a sphere that goes nowhere. It's just kind of all entangle itself, and you just kind of reveal pieces and aspects and fragments of, depends on what you're paying attention to, but it's all one thing, right? Everything is one thing, right? When you say the word everything, that makes it one thing, right? And everything contains everything, right? Because look at your body. The same molecules, the same elements that create the whole cosmos. We already know that. So it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. But yeah, this is what I want to share with you right now. Forget the politicians. They have nothing new to say. Study the philosophers first. Those people, they really, really said it all. After you study and you are fascinated, really, with some of these conversations and lectures, then you can put yourself back in the present and see what the politicians are talking about, and you will see they're going nowhere. They're going in circles. They're going nowhere. And it's been happening for a long time. This is what it seems comical now, because if we were actually making progress, the problems will be solved already. But they're not solved. There's a lot of people that are very afraid out there. They're very, very scared. Some people think the world is getting worse. I don't. I think it's getting better. I'm very optimistic about the future. That's my personal experience, my personal point of view. And truly, it's actually my life experience. Like, my life just gets better and better and better. I have an attitude to make it better, to let it flow into a better tomorrow than yesterday, including the appreciation of yesterday, because it led me to today, and this today will lead me into tomorrow. So it's all together once again. I'm very optimistic. I hope you are. I'm here to tell you that if you're not, hey, why not? Okay? Trying to balance your own state of being with positive things. Okay? One more thing before I go. This is an interesting one as well. I have heard, I might make another video about this, maybe the next one, right? But I have also heard people saying something like, if you have a negative thought, turn it into a positive thought. This is incorrect, you guys. You cannot turn a negative thought into a positive thought. What you can do is replace it. You understand the difference? Because things are what they are exactly for what they are. So you don't turn them into something else. You can replace them. A negative thought will always be a negative thought. So you don't have to transform it into anything. You just replace it with a positive thought. Because a positive thought is always positive. It doesn't need to be transformed into anything either. So that's what I wanted to say real quick. That's a big difference into understanding how it actually works. How you can program or reprogram your mind to actually feel free, to be a free human. Free. I'm not talking about thinking you're free. That's not the same as being free. Thinking you're free is not freedom. Freedom doesn't require thinking. It's a feeling. It's an actual the core of your actual nature. It's complete freedom. This is why random things happen, because there is absolute freedom all the time. The scientific community talks about it. They call it entropy, which is the tendency of things to go from order to disorder. But to me, that term is correct when it comes to science. But to me, I look at it and I think that's freedom. That's freedom. Because if you drop a cup in the floor and the cup never breaks, then there's no freedom. Right? There's no freedom. It's never changing. And change is flow. So when there is freedom, actual freedom, entropy happens. It's part of the freedom, right? Remember, don't look at it as a duality. Try to look at it as a trinity. Always put yourself in the middle of what you're looking at and recognize that that middle, that center point is neutral. There is no tendency to one side or the other. It's just observing. It's just the observer of the duality, which makes it a trinity. And you are the key of it. You are the key of your own freedom. That's what is so comical too. Nobody can give it to you. There's no country, no government, no person in the world that can make you free. Only yourself. The illusion that a government, a person, a president, a company, the boss in a company, the illusion that any of these people can make you free is what creates the problem. It's an illusion. It's an illusion, baby. It's not real. Only you can free yourself. And you do it by recognizing that you are a trinity, that your experience as a human is actually a trinity. So come back to your center. Come back to that neutral place. And from there, you can see you are already free. Circumstances outside of you will still be challenges somehow. Of course, there are billions of people in the world. Everybody's doing all kinds of things. But that does not take any of your freedom away. Because when the freedom is real, it's real. It doesn't require anything to happen. It's just already naturally what it is. Everybody's born free. Absolutely, completely. And then, you grow up and start thinking stuff and you get programmed and they tell you a bunch of history and they want you to be loyal to a place, a country, a history, whatever, all this kind of nonsense, right? So it's all history. It's all gone, by the way. It's all gone. Which, by the way, I'm not saying do not appreciate the history and the people that were here before us. Thanks to the people before me, there's a park, so I can just come here and enjoy it. So you can honor our ancestors, which is very important, but you don't have to repeat their mistakes. So learning history is not about being angry about what people did in the past. It's more about recognizing that we don't have to do that again. So it's comical again, But anyways, my friends, forget politics, study the ancient philosophers. Confucius, amazing, okay? You know how Confucius said one time? He said, every man has two lives, and the second one begins when they realize they actually have only one. How wise is that? Confucius, Asian philosopher, 500 years ago. I think it was in the 1500s, right, when he was around. If I'm wrong, totally fine. Please feel free to correct me in the comments, because I like to also refresh my own mind and my own knowledge. I have all these thoughts going on, so I don't want to get them wrong, but I think it was around 500 years ago. Once again, thanks for hanging out with me over here. Sunset is happening, so I'm gonna get out of here in the next half an hour. If you want to talk to me, you know what to do. Subscribe, give me a comment. You can send me a question, a direct question, through my website. There is a form in there. You can just say hi, you can ask questions, you can collaborate with me if you want. You're welcome to do very much anything. You can just write something and say hi. If you want to read my book, it's called People Are Looking for Love. It's available online. People Are Looking for Love by moi, Gerardo Vitale. If you read it, I hope you enjoy it. It truly means a lot to me. It's the story of a sequence of events that led me from childhood until present day into what we call a spiritual awakening. To my surprise, it's not at all what I thought it was. But yeah, I'm talking about a little bit about my childhood, just a little bit really, and then I talk a lot about psychedelics. So because psychedelics were part of my path, um, and I appreciate them very much. You know, the mushrooms, the cacti, ayahuasca is the real deal. Anyways, that's the book. You can find it anywhere. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I hope you're having a lovely time, day or night. Ciao.